Hello, hello. Welcome back to Hey Boo Women's Network, where we are interviewing our Boo Sisters. And this segment is called Meet a Boo Sister. If we have not connected yet, my name is Mary Grace Iniguez, and I'm the founder of Hey Boo. And as you know, this is one of my favorite times because I get to connect one-on-one with our Boo Sisters, even though I've already did that. But my favorite part of this interview is that we get to invite you in and you get to know our Boo Sisters and connect with them. So today I have Kathy here from Orange County, and I'm excited for you all to get to know her. So, Kathy, welcome.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here today.
Yes, it is my honor. So, we're going to go right into it, Kathy. Tell everybody, before we get into your business, share more about you and who you are.
Okay, so hi everybody. My name is Kathy Huynh Cabico. I am a bridal makeup artist. I own the hair and makeup bridal team, Kathy Huynh Artistry. I'm a mom of a toddler. She's 4. I'm a wife. I came from a corporate background, so I've been in corporate in finance for the past like 18 years, and I recently left my corporate job last August to become a full-time entrepreneur and business owner. So I'm super excited to be here and share a little bit of my story to my Boo sisters.
Yes, I'm excited to share your story because there's a great number of Boost sisters who have transitioned from corporate to being an entrepreneur or are planning on transitioning. And so they're trying to build
Mm,
their outlet, of course, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yep, absolutely. It's a scary step, but it's so worth it. So
Yeah,
worth
it
it. Like I
is.
couldn't imagine going back to a corporate job, to be honest.
Yes, girl, we're gonna get into that because I feel
Yeah.
you there. I feel you. So when it comes to your business, tell us more about your businesses that you own because I know you now have two.
Yes. So I started Kathy Huynh Artistry, which is a bridal hair and makeup company in 2013. So I started out with just me as a solo artist. And I quickly realized that I wasn't going to be able to make it very far being a just a makeup artist in the industry. But at that time, everybody that, was in the industry was telling me, you got to do hair as well too. Like you need to, you got to do both. But I found that I just really hated doing hair. So I just only had a
But your
passion for
hair looks
doing
great
makeup.
today.
Oh, thank you. My own hair sometimes, but but I just did not have the skill set. I did not have the patience, and I did not have the passion for doing hair. So fast forward, I found another hairstylist that I had met on the job, and together she and I kind of teamed up like 10 years ago, and we decided to kind of collaborate, right?
Yeah.
And from there we started to build our team. So we started to recruit a lot of very talented hair and makeup artists along the way to join our team. And for me on my end, I started really building out this bridal brand, so it became something like a lot bigger than just me. It became kind of like a brand, right, in and of itself, like a company that has this specific reputation in the bridal industry. So now fast forward to 2025, we've kind of been around since 2013, and now we have it started with just me and my hairstylist partner Amy. Now we have a team of 10. That's kind of we're
Wow.
servicing, yeah, everybody in the Orange County area, LA, IE. We go kind of like up north too. I mean, like Santa Barbara when I say north, but that's kind of like our kind of like where we operate and where our business is at right now. And so, yeah, we've been having a really incredible success over the years. We've really built a name for ourselves, and we're really known for a team that has amazing customer service. So that's kind of like what people come to us for. And so, because of that success that I've been able to build with my bridal business, a year ago, I decided that I really wanted to step into the world of coaching because I felt like I had so much knowledge in just trial
Mhm.
and errors and all of the inner work that I was already doing, because you can totally relate. Like entrepreneurship is like personal development on crack.
Yes.
So
Like you get stuff that you're like, what? There was stuff.
yes, exactly, exactly. And and when you're in corporate, I feel like you're just kind of following instructions like day after day. You're almost on autopilot. But when you're kind of like running your own business, it's like it requires a certain set of skills and a certain, what is that word, like passion, like to uncover and really have the vulnerability to go deep within yourself and do that really inner work, because you're leading a team, right? Like it's not just about you anymore. So I feel like in just doing all of that with my bridal business, I just felt like, oh my gosh, like there's just so much wisdom that I have accumulated over the past decade running my own business, and the ins and the outs, and it just becomes more than just the artistry part. Like, of course, you have to do good makeup, you have to do good hair, but beyond that, it's like you can't scale your business to like a 6-figure company, a 7-figure company, if you can only do good hair and makeup, right? Because nowadays it requires you to be able to market yourself, be able to communicate, be able to lead, and really stand out in the industry. So I feel like that's really what caused me to step into this coaching business now, that I'm actually helping other creatives. So I'm expanding the scope. So beyond makeup artists, I really want to help other creatives just get better, 1% every single day. Like just either it's something I'm sharing about mindset, if it's about something about business, I just want them to have a different perspective on things and just get better like 1%, because I really want them to start turning their passion, their craft, like into cash and into income, and really know that you can do what you love and make a shit ton of money.
Yeah. I love that you're doing that, because you and I had a conversation about especially being a creative, right? You're a creative and I'm a creative in my
Yeah.
industry of marketing, is sometimes people are creative, but then they step into this business, but they, not that they lack, but they just haven't ran a business yet. And so those are the pieces that they're really great at being creative, but the business is
Yes.
where they need the support and the mindset and
Correct.
everything. Yeah.
Correct. Because I think that there's just this big stigma around, the starving artist story, right? I'm sure you've heard it. I've heard it from my parents too. Like, you can't make it big if you're doing something that's considered art, right? And
Yeah.
I think like a lot of people, and I think a lot of creatives take that talent, and I think they interpret it as, the furthest I can go with this is a hobby. Like I think that stigma, it's almost like, like the furthest I can do this is a hobby, or at the very most like a side hustle, but it
Yeah.
can't be like this real thing that I like my livelihood can be built on this.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of like what I feel like it's my mission to really prove it to people that, hey, like, you know what, you can actually do what you love. And as long as you have the right support around you and you're learning and you're growing every day, like you really can build something amazing, like on your terms.
Yeah.
And I
Wow.
just wish I could help more creatives, like, teach them about the strategy, because like you said, a lot of the times creatives, they're very creative, but they're just kind of like, there's that piece missing, right? Which is like, okay, how do we strategically run this into a business and monetize this, right? So I thankfully, because of all of my years in corporate, like 20 plus years in finance and in corporate, I'm able to kind of like piece it together. And I think I'm just wanting to create that connection for people and say, hey, this is how kind of like the pieces fit together for you.
Yeah, wow. Because I was doing the math, I had my calculator here. You've been in business for 12 years. And
Yeah,
um, when did you leave corporate?
just last year.
Just last year. So
Yeah.
for 11 years. Let's back up from the beginning. When
Yeah.
did you start like think, okay, I could turn this into a business?
When in 2013, I remember, okay, so it started because as a side hustle, because I remember in that 2013 was the year that I had already been in corporate, like I've been in finance, in banking specifically, and I was a personal banker and I was doing well. I was in a sales position, I was doing well. But I got into that point, and at that, I was already in it for 7 years, right? And I remember thinking, like, this isn't what I want to do forever, because being a creative, I needed a creative outlet. Like there was no other way around it. And, you know,
Yes.
corporate 9 to 5 wasn't going to give me that. So I remember just not really knowing what I was going to do. And then one day I decided, oh, like maybe I should go become a makeup artist because I love painting as a kid. Like I love drawing, sketching. And actually, fun fact is I actually won a lot of like red ribbon, like or blue ribbons, I think awards as a kid because I would compete like
Wow.
my painting. And I actually have this like name plaque somewhere at like a Institute of Art somewhere in Laguna.
Wow.
I don't know if it's still there. Yeah, but this is like 100 years ago, right? And so I was like, yeah. And so, but I actually was able to, and I was a gifted artist, and I knew that, you know. So when I in 2013 hit, I was like, I needed something to kind of like feel my passion because everything just started to feel kind of mundane, and I didn't like it. So I decided I'm just gonna go through a makeup academy and just like get my certification as a makeup artist. So I did that, and the first few clients I was working on, I knew like instantly like this is something like special. Like there was just this like pull to me, and I knew that yes, this is it. But you know, knowing me, very ambitious, very driven, I was like, well, I don't want to just be freelancing. Like I don't want to just do this by myself, you know?
Yeah.
And I was just like, I want this to be bigger. So from that point on, right from the get-go, I didn't know how I was going to do it. I didn't know what it would turn into, but I just knew like in my heart that I wasn't going to be just like a freelance artist. Like I knew that this could turn into something bigger. And so sure enough, you know, I put in the effort, I put in the hustle, the grind, right? So I would work my 9 to 5, and then on the weekends I would go practice doing makeup on people for free just to build my portfolio. So I did that for a lot of years, and then slowly but surely, you know, people started noticing me on social media and started like hiring me for smaller wedding gigs. You know, I remember charging like $50 for my first bride.
Wow.
because it was like her second time getting married and she didn't want to pay a ton of money, and I'm like, I'll take it, you know. And it was $50, and she was like the most difficult person to work with, but
That's always how it is.
yes, right. But it was like, you know, but it was cool. Like it was a great like learning like experience. But yeah, and I knew that at that moment I was going to do something with this. But at that time I wasn't ready yet to leave my corporate. You know, I feel like you hear a lot of stories about women that just like, you know, up and leave like their corporate, and then they just have this full faith that they were going to figure it out. Like that wasn't my story because I came from a very conservative family, right? Like my family immigrated here. So we're built on like stability, like knowing that you're going to get a paycheck. So in that moment, like it wasn't like a perfect like time for me to leave. So I just started like just slowly did my side hustle. You know, I sometimes would work my 40 plus hours at corporate, and then the weekends I would spend another like 20 hours like, you know, building my business, you know. And of course I didn't have a whole lot of social life, but that was okay because I was really committed to this work. And yeah, so it wasn't until you know, and then life got in the way, right? Like I ended up having my daughter, we ended up purchasing a home and like in between. So finally last year was when I had this really deep calling to say like, now is the time, you know. And I didn't know how or what or where, but I just knew like this was my exit, so I went for it.
Oh,
You
that
know.
is awesome. And how do you feel now?
I feel amazing. I feel like I'm truly where I'm supposed to be right now. You know, and you know, they say that when you leap, the net sort of appears. It really does, you know. And for the first few months when I left my corporate, you know, I was a wreck. I just didn't know how to process like having all this extra time on my hands, right? Like I went from somebody who was working like I don't know, like 60 hours in between the two jobs to somebody that just was just like home, you know. And it was a hard transition for me because I felt like if I wasn't doing something, I wasn't being productive, and that was the hardest part for me. You know, and I just felt like, well, what am I doing sitting here like 8 hours a day? Like I feel like I should be doing something. And the more I was pushing against that, the more resistance I started feeling, until at a certain point I was like, okay, I have to kind of surrender to this and really understand that like I've worked all hard for like over a decade so that I could be in this position. And it's almost like I don't owe it to anybody. You know what I mean? There's like that feeling like realizing that I don't owe it to anybody, but I deserve this rest. Like I deserve this slowness. I deserve this life, and just and just really feeling that I'm worthy, whether I'm in motion or not, and knowing that my higher purpose, my higher calling doesn't come from me always on the go, 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 or hustle until the wheels fall off, right? Like maybe my higher purpose is me being in stillness and maybe me sharing the wisdom that I've learned. So so it was a lot of those inner work, and it was a time for me to like really shift, like from understanding like, okay, I was an employee, now I'm actually like a full-time like business owner.
That's huge. That is huge. That I don't see a lot of people talk about is that transition from being a corporate or just being someone who's, let's say, even parents who were used to having their kids home and tending to them, and then they become empty nesters. No one talks about that in between, that literal the beginning shift. And that's exactly what you just shared when you went from corporate to now owning your own and realizing that all this time on my hands is good, that I did the work to get this, because I felt the same too. There were times where I was like, well, I'm just sitting here. Well, I should be doing more, and that's probably why I don't have this and I don't have that and I don't have this, because I'm not doing anything. But then what I found is when I kept trying to do something, it was resisting the connections, the collaborations, the money, and everything else that you're trying to build, because you're no longer surrendering. You're like pushing to hustle, right? And you'd be busy, but you're not really productive.
Exactly. It's like you're just trying to keep yourself busy just so you have a sense of like, oh, normalcy, like, because this is what I've been doing, so I need to continue doing this for the world to look at me and be like, oh, she's productive,
Or for yourself, you're just like, I'm busy, I have so much to do. But when you really look at it, you're like, it's not doing anything for my business.
It's not really moving the needle, and you're just spinning around in circles. Yes, exactly. And I think it's also like that sense of like, you're like kind of like you've outgrown like your old identity, but your new identity, it's not like fully fully developed, so you're kind of stuck in that between, like, kind of like you're trying to kind of like birth a child, but it's like premature, so it can't come out yet, and and I think it's almost like that, like, contraction pains, like, what I mean, it's like a baby is about to come, but it's like so women, we know this. Exactly, and that's what I can, like, that's like how I think about it. It's like that labor pains or that contraction, like when the baby is almost ready to come out but not quite, and you're just sitting there like just miserable.
It is. And not to scare anyone who maybe is like in the first year or first few months of being a business owner, this is not something that goes away. Like, this is something that continually happens because you're continually evolving, and that's what you want. You want to be growing and evolving and finding new things and shifting new things, or like you birthing another sector of your business. Like, I think a lot of what conversations I hear is like, I don't know if this like aligns with me anymore. I want to do this, and some people are scared of making that change, but it's actually 100%. Maybe that's why you went through that, to get to here.
100%. Right? I totally believe that. I totally believe that you wouldn't be put in a decision to be in a position to make like these kind of decisions if that desire wasn't planted in your heart to start off with.
Yes.
100%. 100%. And I feel like, because I had this desire, because I knew very early on in my corporate, even though I stayed for so long, I stayed almost 2 decades. Like, I knew from the get-go that I wasn't meant to retire in a corporate setting. Like, I knew in my heart that one day I will be a full-time business owner. You know, and I feel like that's what you call like a calling, right? Like, you can't, and it's almost like this calling that it just keeps coming back until finally you pick up the phone and say, okay, like, I'm doing this. you know, and that was what it was for me. Because for the last like 5 years, like the calling just kept getting louder and louder, you know, and I just kind of push it off, push it back. Until finally I'm like, okay, I'm going to pick up this phone and say, okay, yes, universe, God, whoever, I'm ready to answer this. Like, I'm going in, you know? And because I feel like you wouldn't have that desire if you weren't meant to do this. It's you know, like I feel like I wouldn't be called to leave my corporate job if I'm just going to like fail. If that makes sense, right?
What were the things that stopped you from leaving? Like the thoughts?
You know, it's the stability, right? The thought of the unknown, the thought of like, well, what is my family going to think? That was a big one for me. Like, how do I explain to them about this? You know, well, because for me, and I think about this often actually, because I have more time now to think, right? I think about this often, and I realize that a younger version of me, like Kathy 3-4 years ago, she wouldn't have been able to make this leap, no matter how you slice or dice it. Like, she was not ready for this leap because I have not embodied a version of myself that I am today.
Yes.
Like that younger version of me, she was ambitious, but she's not grounded in her truth. Yeah. She was ambitious and driven, and she knew what she wanted, but she was not she didn't own her truth, you know? For me today, like a version of me today, the identity today, it's like I could give two Fs what everybody else is thinking. Yeah. You know, like that kind of determination, right? Like a younger version of me, I cared a lot about what my family thought. I cared a lot about what my friends would think, what other people would think of me. So for me, that version of me would never have been able to make this leap because I would be too afraid of like opinions. I would be too afraid of criticism or like judgment from others, you know?
I love that you shared that because it's all about timing. Like what you're ready for, and we have to kind of go through all these motions. That's why I had to mention is like not to scare anyone, but you're going to continually go through this, and it's actually good. And by the time you get to maybe the fifth time, you're like, "Is it going to be good? Is it really going to be good?" You're like, "Yes." And you don't believe this. And then the second time, you're like, "Oh, they told me this, but I don't know. It still hurts."
Yes.
I heard to the fifth time because I've been through that. I'm now on probably the fifth time. I'm like, oh my God. You can now look at the first, the second, the third, the fourth, and be like, I had to go from this to get to here, to get to here, to get to here. And then now being here, and I'm like, wow, I went through all of that to be the woman I am today and make decisions the way that I do now.
100%. I totally agree with everything you've said because I feel like there's so many iterations of us, right? And as we grow, we have to, it's almost like they call it like the higher the level, the bigger the devil or something like that, right? So as you, So as you,
people, I'm just kidding. And all the
Exactly. And that's what I see in my business all the time, my bridal business. You know, as I scale and hitting that like 6-figure marks and stuff, it's just like the issues that I was worrying about when I was like barely making like, 10K years was completely different than what I have now. Yeah. It's like, yes. But it's like, it forces you, but what's amazing about it is I feel like it forces you to also level up. It forces you to like think differently, like shedding old beliefs, old patterns, old identities, like whatever just doesn't align anymore. It has to kind of leave, like be released for you to be able to get onto that next level, you know?
Yes, I agree. And it allows you to be more grateful for,
100%.
Oh, I had to go through that. Oh, okay. That's not, because in the beginning stages, I think especially for women, I think dudes, I call them dudes have this different approach in their first year of being in business. But for women, sometimes we take in a lot of things emotionally and mentally. And by the time you get to a certain part in your business, you're just like, oh, that's nothing. Like you just said, the 10K a year is nothing compared to the 6 to 7 figure a year. Challenges you're going to be worried about.
Exactly. So you're like, oh, why are you stressing so much about it now? But like, exactly. And we just different approaches. And I think it's just like being women, like it's just that maternal like instinct too. I feel like that kind of kicks in as we run our business. And there's just like that component I feel like a man would never like understand.
No, I think I read an article about like when women, as women business owners, the reason why we have certain challenges that men don't is the maternal, is because we are still constantly worried about the family and making sure the house is running. Whether you do it or not, that's still a
Right.
thought in your head as a woman. And then you're still trying
Absolutely.
to, grow and build your business. And then
Right.
you're having those effects also on your team. Like the maternal thing is still popping in. Like
Yes.
that still
Yes.
pops in your business.
Right. And I think it's our superpower. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I feel like that's what's so amazing too, is because I have like a team of my own that I really like nurtured, and they've just
Yeah.
kind of like been my ride or die, like for the past, I don't know, like 7, 8 years.
Mhm.
And I feel like that's our superpower as women. It's like we have this ability to really tap in to our team or the people we're around with, and just making them feel very seen. Like I know you're so good
Yeah.
at this too, though.
Yeah.
I like my first time meeting you, I was like, Mary Grace is like, I can just tell you have this maternal mama bear about you, but you always, I think the thing that's so amazing about you is you always make people feel seen and heard. And I think that's also like a superpower, you know what I mean? Like because we have this maternal instinct, so it's always like, I feel like that's why I feel like women build amazing businesses.
Yeah. Yeah.
I might be biased here, but I'm just saying.
No, I agree, and there's actually even proven facts and articles that when women, and this is my whole premise of Hey Boo, it's because I got it from this article, is like
Oh, okay.
when we do something good, when we build a business, it's not only for the money and all that, it's actually impacting not only our family, it impacts the community we're in when we build a
Right.
business,
Wow, I love
because
that. Yeah.
it trickles out, and then I've witnessed it, and that's kind of how Hey Boo was not born, but it was like solidified of like
Oh,
I
wow.
see it, because
Yeah.
I had a group of 6 women come together. We were going to plan something. I brought them all into a Zoom room. My plan, the one thing that I planned, trickled to how we can affect now teachers and students. It was a
Wow,
backpack drive I was
amazing.
planning.
Oh,
And then
what?
all of a sudden it turned into, oh, well, we should get donations for the teachers because they're so,
Wow.
we appreciate them. And then maybe we should get something for the parents. It wasn't, it like
I love
trickled
that.
to more
Yeah.
impact. And that's when I was
Yes.
like, yep, when women come
Oh,
together, and then especially
it's
entrepreneurial
powerful.
women, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
very
powerful.
powerful.
We are a force to be reckoned with, for sure.
Yes. So I know you shared a lot about your journey and your transition.
Uh-huh.
All good.
Sorry.
Her AirPods over here falling out. So
Yeah.
I know you
Snap that
shared
part out.
you shared a lot about the transition, going from corporate, a lot of the mindset and things you've gone through. Um, but what has the entrepreneurial journey looked like for you? Like these 12 years?
Oh my gosh. Like, you mean since I've made the transition, or how it was like way back then? Like,
Tell us about the when you were working corporate first. Then tell me about
oh,
the
okay.
year, the 1 year.
Yeah. I was like, well, it feels like forever ago. Honestly, I had no background in business, like about starting a business. I didn't really come from a family of entrepreneurs, like a lot of Asian people. So it was just me figuring it out. And one thing that I would say in my early days that has really, I feel like, fast tracked the success that I'm seeing is I invested a lot in learning. I knew what I didn't know, and I found the people who knew it, and I wanted to learn from them. Mind you, I wasn't making any money at the time, right? And I remember, and now that I think about it, I'm like, oh yeah, like that's what entrepreneurs think, like, right? Like you invest before you're ready, right? Like I feel like most people, like most creatives, the thought process is, oh, I can't invest in learning more. I can't invest in a coach or a mentor because I haven't made this money yet. So I'm gonna wait until I make the money and then
Yep.
invest. But my thought process, even very early on, is I cannot make more money if I don't know what I'm doing yet. You know what I mean? So I actually, in my early days of entrepreneurship, I was barely making any money. And I remember I had taken like that makeup course, but it was very basic. Like there's not a lot of technique. And I was like, well, I need to learn more, but I didn't know how. And I don't know if you remember, but about 10, 13 years ago, like social media wasn't really a thing. And you couldn't go around asking other makeup artists their tips and tricks because they're not going to share it with you.
Yeah.
That's just, that's just the industry it was. Like, it's very catty. Like, there wasn't a YouTube that you can go in and search and whatnot.
Even if you went to the MAC counter and got your makeup done, they ain't telling you how they did that.
No, exactly. 100%. They're just like, well, if you want to buy XYZ, but they're not teaching you the technique. Yeah. They're not teaching you the technique, and nobody was like sharing, So I knew that I had to invest in people that's willing to teach me things, and the only way they'll do that is if you obviously pay for it, And so I remember I didn't have the money, and I wanted to really learn from this industry veteran, and she was like semi-retired, but she was so expensive. Like, at that time, she was charging $325 for 1 hour. And that's like 13 years ago. Yeah, 1 hour. And literally when the timer goes off, like, that was it.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But I was like, oh my gosh, like, I have to learn from her. So I remember asking like one of my sisters. And so my sister actually lent me some money so I could book like a 2-hour session with her.
Wow.
But those 2 sessions like literally changed my craft like forever, because it taught me how to look at makeup in a different lens, and through that lens, I've been able to kind of like create my own like technique that people come to me for now, right? But I feel like, okay, had I not invested, it would have taken me kind of like another extra 5 years or so to figure out what worked and what didn't, right? But because I invested in myself early on, I was like, okay, confident in my skills, and I started kind of like moving a lot faster than other people were. So that was like my early days, right? And then just, learning through trial and errors. I think that's the thing. And really picking yourself back up when you like feel like you failed. Because I've had instances where, as a new entrepreneur, where people were pissed at me, because I remember one of the mistakes that I made early on was that I was so ambitious, I started hiring on people too fast. That was my thing. And I didn't vet them. I was like, oh, you can do makeup, cool, like, you're on my team. Well, there was an instance one time where an artist that I had brought on, she was great at her craft, but she didn't have the people skill, the communication skill. She was great at what she does, but she didn't know how to read body language. She didn't know, like, if the client's telling her one thing, like, she didn't know how to read between the lines, right?
Yes.
So long story short, she went out, did a wedding for me. I got a call the next day, and it was the client complaining about her entire event, how unhappy she was and how horrible it was, how late she was because they were going back and forth. Yeah, and I spent 45 minutes on the phone with her, just hearing her vent about this bad experience that she had.
And that's
so it's
hard because that's
that's
a
hard.
big day and all this stuff. Yes. She's calling you the day after, and you're like,
yeah, it's this big gulp in your stomach, your throat. Yeah, exactly. But it was those kind of mistakes where I was like, oh my gosh, it was so hard to swallow. But one thing that I've learned is you have to kind of set your pride aside, put your ego aside, And so from there, I've learned very valuable lessons, from just that one experience, but also there were different things along the years that kind of happened here and there, but just really having the humility and not be like, oh my gosh, you suck at running a business, who are you to be running this, and not talking down to myself and being mean to myself, but more of hey, how can I learn from this and how can I move forward from this? Sometimes there were times where I would have to actually give the client a refund because how unhappy they were. But to me, it was I'm owning that mistake. This is me having to pay. It's me reminding myself, don't ever make that mistake again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a costly mistake, so don't make it again kind of deal.
Yeah.
But that was just me owning that mistake, right? But the more that I evolve and grow, the more I realize that there's really no losses. There's only lessons. And that's what I remind myself every single time, right? What can I learn from this? It's, it might be a monetary loss, but more importantly, what's the lesson here? And each time I make it better. I make it better each time. I might fail, I get myself up, make it better, and move on, And just knowing that, I shouldn't judge myself for a mistake, because we all make mistakes, right? And just owning that mistake, I think first and foremost, is what makes me a better leader. And yeah, and then just fast forward now, like, just a year ago, like this entrepreneur, I mean, I'm telling you, it's like, it's going like this, I'm sure, and just stepping into the world of full-time entrepreneurship has really opened up my eyes to a lot of things. And one of those things, I don't know if I remember sharing this with you, but is being in the room with the right people, like networking. Right, because me, when I was a part-time side hustle running my business, I was telling you, like, I didn't really care a lot to go out and network with people. Well, one, I didn't have a lot of time, right, because I was working my full-time job. But I started to notice that as a full-time entrepreneur now, it's like, your network really is your net worth.
Yeah.
Right, like being
That
in the
cliche
right room.
quote is actually
Yes, like
yes.
true. Yes. It's almost like, well, you have to be in the same room with these people. Like it's great to see them on social media, but it's a whole different thing to be in the same energy and just being in the same room and just meeting just other amazing people who can teach you something about business or whatever else. So I think that was my biggest lesson, like this year, was like, wow, like I used to hate networking, but networking, I feel like, is what actually propel your business forward. Like if you want to be in it like all the way, like yeah, you need to. And I was resisting it a lot, like early on, I remember, because I was like, oh, I don't want people just shoving their business cards down my throat. Like I don't want to be at these events and just feel like icky. People are just trying to sell me their things. But when I met you guys at like one of the Heibu events, like that totally shifted, because it just felt like everybody was just there to support each other. Like nobody was trying to force me to buy anything, or shoving their cards down my throat or anything. So it just really felt like a sisterhood. So that's why I really felt connected right away. But I'm just learning that, like you have to be connected, and it feels less lonely too. That's the main thing. Yeah. Right? Like when you're in a corporate job, you go to work, you see other adults, you can have conversations with them. But when you're just at home by yourself, like running your business, and it can get lonely,
Yeah. And you know what? This just came to mind as you mentioned it, is when you work a corporate job, you have people around you. Like your peers are going through the same thing as you. They're working this 9 to 5. They're going to their family, trying to juggle the work and the family. And then when you become an entrepreneur, you don't realize you still need the people around, the people who are doing the same as you.
Yeah, 100%. And I was just like, oh, I'm an introvert. I don't need these people. I don't need people. I just want to be by myself.
That's nice to say. That was nice to say. I actually,
I want to be
family
home.
used to be around that I was an introvert, which in some cases I am, but I have to be in the right rooms. So I think I become more introvert when it's not my vibe, like it's not the room I want to be in. So then I retreat to being in the corner on my phone. But if it's a room where you feel like, oh my God, I get to like meet people, there's friendship here. It's not just about what I do or what you do and whatever. That's where I become extrovert.
I love that. And you've literally pulled the words out of my mouth, because yes, I'm like that too. Like I talk for a living. So in my corporate job, you know what I mean? I was like customer service. So it's almost like it's weird for me to tell people introvert, and they're like, you? Like I can't believe it. I'm like, yeah, but it's probably because I'm not, like you said, like in the right room, like with the right people, and I think that makes all the difference, right? And it's like I light up when I'm in the energy of other women that are doing the same thing or wanting the same thing, versus like in corporate, right? Like you're there with other people, but yet it's almost like you're just there because those four walls like put you there, and you're just probably like bitching about the same thing, like
you relate in some way.
You relate in some way, but maybe in a way that's not like really for growth purpose, because everybody there is just like, we have to be here, so we're just gonna bitch and moan about why we're here.
Even there, you're still networking. Isn't that
exactly? Yeah, that is so interesting. Yeah.
So tell me one thing you wish people knew about your business.
Ooh. Okay, can I do one for bridal and one for the coaching? Okay. I want to say that for people to know. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Cut that part out. This keeps falling. Let me see. So for my bridal business, I really want people to know that makeup is not just about what we do. It's about like a whole vibe. It's a whole experience. And it's more than just applying makeup on a face. It's that energetic exchange that you receive and that it really makes you feel like $1,000,000. Like that's the goal. You know, because I feel like whenever I do makeup, it's like a ritual for me. It's not like I'm just there just to do makeup, but it's really this energetic exchange where I'm pouring into you, and then when I'm done with you, you're gonna feel this like glow because somebody is really pouring into you. So that's what I want people to know, that you know, that if you're going around like getting makeup done or whatever, and you just feel like you're just another cheek in the seat, like that isn't it. That ain't it, boo. Like you would say, like that ain't it, you know?
That's good.
Yeah, because for me, true makeup and true artistry is when I leave you or when you get off of my chair and you're just like, wow, I can see myself, my reflection, and feel that this is my most confident self. Like I want women to see that. And I think that's why I'm so passionate with working with everyday women, you know, because I want to be able to show you what you are, the beauty that I see in you, but translate it into makeup. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I think that's why, I mean, I would work with everyday women 100% over celebrities, over models, over any of that, any day of the week. You know, because for me, the rewarding part of it is not about who looks prettiest on Instagram. It's like that glow you get when you finally see for yourself for the first time, like, wow, I'm fucking pretty. Like, I'm hot. You know, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for my coaching business, I just really want people to know that creatives can really thrive. I feel like the world is built on creatives. But it's just that like we have to have the audacity to claim that spot and really own our craft, and knowing that what we do, no matter if it's art, no matter if it's beauty, no matter if it's something that's not like surgeon, you know, doctor, medical, just because it doesn't have a label of something crazy or complicated, it doesn't mean that we don't make the world a better place, you know? Because I know a lot of makeup artists that will say, oh, I'm just a makeup artist. And I'm always like, no, you're not just anything. The fact that you do makeup or hair, or you're in this beauty world, or you do nails, like you work on people's, like you're an esthetician, like no, that job makes the world a better place, a much more beautiful place, you know? So I really, really feel compelled to let creatives know, like, hey, whatever your talent is, like own it. It's not just something you do. It's a part of who you are, and part of that is gonna make the world a better place, you know? And you're not given these talents for no reason. Right? Like it didn't happen by accident, right? So use it, you know, own it, and like really grow. And I think what I really want to teach people is the framework. Like, okay, you got the talent, now let's put it into the framework so you can really show up and like make that money and really live that life that you always wanted to live, you know?
Yeah. Oh, that is awesome. And you're right. All of those professions in the beauty sector, you're not just beauty, because again, I feel like crap when my nails aren't done. And then when I get them done, I'm like, oh, I can show the world.
Yeah, you feel like $1,000,000, and that's what we do, you know? Sorry, I'm gonna plug in my computer real fast. Okay.
Yeah, you're cool.
Okay. Sorry, cut this right out. Yeah, and I think it's so important to kind of like really shift the narrative, you know, really shift the narrative that just because what we do is supposed to be a hobby, we can still make good money, a good living out of it, a career out of it, you know, and inspire other people along the way. And that's really my mission, right? Like I'm gonna go first because I want to inspire everybody around me to do the same, you know, because honestly, like we got one life. It's kind of sad. It's kind of sad when you think about it. Like you see a lot of people with untapped potential, and like they don't really live out the life that they really want to live because of fear, because of judgment, of like doubt, you know. And my mission is I want to make sure that more and more people own it and step into it.
Yeah. And that's where you and we aligned in so many different sectors, but that's one of the things we align in is I just want to see what you said earlier is I want them to see what I see in them, how powerful they actually 100%. Are. And that's why for you is like the makeup and the beauty, and then stepping for a client, but then on the coaching side is for creatives to see that they have that power to create a business, to make the money, and actually do what they love by doing their
Yeah.
gifts and passion.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I think creatives make amazing entrepreneurs
Yeah.
because we're so creative, like we can't stick into like one structure. Like
No.
there's just so many ways that we can do things. And I'm sure you can relate because when our creative juices turned on, it's like we're unstoppable.
Yes.
you
Oh,
know?
girl, I agree. Even when
Yeah.
like earlier in the years, right? Like even when months you're not making money, you get
Mm-hmm.
creative of, oh, I could do this, I could do that. Like not everybody
Yes.
has that gift to think that way.
Yeah. And they're just like, well, it's a slow month, so I'm just going to be here,
Yeah.
but not creatives. No, not creatives because we're going to, and during COVID too, that's what I realized is during
Mhm.
COVID too, so many of my creative friends started like filling a gap in the market that they didn't know that they
Yeah.
could. You know what I mean? So it's like let's
Mhm.
bring that back, like bring that passion back and not only do it for during COVID, but know that if this is what you want to do and this is a life you want to live as a, like, expressing yourself and your creativity, like let's go.
Yeah. I just think, oh, man, I just think about like people who are huge now from social media, like
Oh yeah.
influencers or
Mm-hmm.
even not influencers, just people giving tips and people doing things on TikTok. They started with doing something that they were just having fun. And
Yeah,
then
a
it
hundred
turned into
percent.
something big where they were making money and they're retiring their spouses and all these things. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's
Yeah.
how it starts, from being creative by using those creative
Using,
juices.
yes, a
Yeah.
100%. Couldn't have said it better. Yeah, like that's what it's there for. Just like you gotta tap into it.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. Wow. It's always a pleasure just to speak with you.
Yeah.
And I
Aw.
have one last
Same here.
question before we
Yeah,
close
yeah,
it out and we'll
yeah,
get your info to connect with you is
yeah.
what is one advice you would give to a woman building her dreams, building her business?
Oh, right now I have so many advice, but I would pick one. I was like, we can go on for days about this. But I will sum it up by saying, go for it. There is no better way to put it than just go for it. Just know that your dreams are valid. Does it, like, I want that woman to really close her eyes and really think about, if all were possible, like what would I love, right? Like what would I love? And knowing that whatever you love you can have, like you're already provided for, you already have that success for business, you already have the amount of money that you want to make. All that's stopping you from where you are right now and where you want to go is the belief that you can. So whatever that may be, whatever that may look like, right? Because for a lot of people, what's stopping them from getting to their dreams is maybe they're around the wrong people that aren't dreamers. Maybe they're around friends that don't really want to grow. So to that woman, I will say, get in a different circle, make new friends. Get with people who get you. I think that's really important, right? Because if your spouse is not an entrepreneur, they're not going to understand your passion and what you want to do. And if you follow their lead, you're gonna stop dreaming too. So the advice is just know that you're worth it, and just get yourself with the right people who also support that dream. And make the friends that actually will nourish that dream for you, like the people that will say, girl, you're not dreaming big enough, dream even bigger. And if you don't have those people in your lives right now, find some or pay for some.
Yeah.
Pay to get
Pay
into.
for something. Get in the room.
Yeah, get in the room. Yeah, pay for some.
Yeah.
Because that's like me. Like, I don't have any physical friends in my realm. Well, first of all, I don't have a lot of friends, right? That I still stay connected to. But in my small circle of friends, I don't have entrepreneur friends. So for me, realistically, like, if I were to share my hopes and dreams with these friends, like, they're not really gonna know how to react. And the fact that they have this lack of reaction, I might feel some type of way. I might feel like, oh my gosh, like I'm doubting myself because they're not telling me that I can do this. So I have to, and a large part of my entrepreneurship journey is I have to pay to be in communities. I've paid to be in programs, to be inside communities, to meet the right people. and I think that made all the difference, because I'm not giving up on my dream, because I know that there is like 100 other people in my circle right now online that's rooting for me. You know what I mean? So yeah, so I think that's very powerful, and
That
that's
is
my
powerful. It's so valid too because um I recently moved to OC, and
yeah.
although I was
Hmm.
building my businesses, physically I wasn't here every day,
Yeah.
every hour. And
Hmm.
so as I'm navigating different communities, because even if I own my own, it doesn't mean I'm not going to go into others. Is
Right, right.
That's where I'm at. I'm visiting different ones, and I'm like, I'm going to invest my money as long as it's the right room, right? And
Hmm. Yeah.
and here's the thing: when you invest your money to be in those right rooms, what's cool is it's a container. So when they're
Hmm.
requiring people to pay, it's because they're
Yeah.
contained a certain amount of energy, a certain kind of
Yes.
energy.
That's such a good way to put it. Yes, yeah. And so yeah, so if you don't have the friends, like don't be afraid to find them online. It's like dating online,
Yeah.
or like yeah, or like get out into different rooms, and yeah, like you said, just paying for different containers to be in, because that's what's gonna help. Like, is that the word incubate? Is that the word incubate, where it's like
Yeah,
it helps
incubate.
you like
Yep.
grow? Yeah, like yeah, to
Yep.
help you grow, and that's what's
Yeah.
needed.
Yeah, it is. Wow. Thank you so much, Kathy, for sharing all of your
Yeah,
insights today.
of
I want
course.
people to connect with you. So let us know how can they connect with you.
Oh yes. So I am mainly on Instagram right now. It's going to be at Kathy Huynh Cabico. That's my main page for coaching, and on my page, of course, you can find my the link to my makeup page as well too, which is at Kathy Huynh Artistry, if you're looking for makeup services. So that's how we can
Perfect.
stay connected. Yeah.
Yes, I will drop all of that in the description of the YouTube video so that you all can get connected with her. If you have any resources, tools, or just connect with Kathy, just reach out. That's what we're all about. And thank you again for spending time with me and sharing all of your gems and sharing more about your journey. This is what it's all about.
I love
And
it.
I know that we're going to be collaborating on some great things coming up, so stay
Mm-hmm.
tuned.
Yeah.
And without further ado, we're going to close it out. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been
You're
wonderful.
welcome. Thank you.